Welcome to the Three Dot Podcast. I'm here on a Sunday, and I'm here solo once again, and we will get to that. I know there's going to be a lot of speculation as to what's going on early in this episode, so I, of course, will address everything that led up to this. Will is still around, if that's your first question, but uh, nah, we'll do that in a second. Real quick, because I thought of this the other day. I woke up yesterday, which was Saturday, at 6:35 roughly, and I had one of those moments. It happens to everyone where I thought it was a weekday, so I thought it was Friday, and I immediately get up out of bed, and then finally, as I'm getting ready to get dressed for work, thinking I'm late because you got to get there at 7. I've put it together that it was actually Saturday. Get back in bed, all of that, but it did remind me of anytime I wake up late in my life. I think about a time in college in Professor Bain's, I believe it was African Studies class, and I woke up late for an exam. I don't think it was the final exam; it might have been midterm. And I woke up about a half hour after the class started. The class was all the way on the other side of campus, which is Heidelberg, so it wasn't like an hour away. But it was like a 15-minute walk, 10-minute walk. Walk all the way down there, walk into class, everyone's taking their exam, there's some teammates in the class, everyone's looks at me like, oh shit, this guy showed up late. And then the midterm was 2 questions, and we had those little blue booklets, and you write out as much as you can and answer the question to the best of your ability. And I took a minute to read those, wrote my responses, filled up the entire blue booklet, and then got up, handed it in, and left. And everyone else was still sitting there, and everyone kind of looked at me and goes, what the hell was that? There's no way he must have not known what was going on. Dropped my phone, sorry. And I got 100% on that final or that midterm, whatever it was. And I remember no one could believe it. It's not to brag, it's just to continue this wasted potential theme that I'm talking about. But also, every time I'm late now, it messed up my mentality where I'm like, well, I can just show up and figure it out. Um, but the panic that sets in when you think you're late for work and then you can't fall back to sleep is one of the worst feelings in the world. Um, but we're here on a Saturday. Want to give a big shout out to Larry, a new subscriber on YouTube. Know him from work. Big shout out to him. Appreciate you, Larry. I don't know if he listens. I don't know if he's listening at all, but if he is, here you go. Here's your shout out. Josh, big shout out to you as well. Talked to Josh for a while about the podcast. Doing it's really fun now because I feel like I'm hitting the stride, find out what it's going to be. I've said that many times, but we've gone through many eras. We've gone from recording locally on a phone to emailing it to a few people in a fantasy league to now having a YouTube page, having a Spotify. We're up to like 2,000 impressions on Spotify. Once again, follow, subscribe, do that because I'm not going to send it out anymore. This one I might send to a couple people again because I want people to listen, but I also want people to subscribe so I actually have numbers to show other people. But I appreciate everyone that listens. But Josh, or sorry, I was going to say that especially after episode 35, which I'll break down a little bit. I got a lot of feedback. People texted me mainly saying, fuck you, Will. Jamal wants to fight him, like actually physically fight him if he sees him. It's on site. But it's also cool because Josh and I talked for like, I don't know, 10 minutes just about the show, things that made him laugh, things that he likes, things that have gone on, kind of talked about the history of it, talked about Dave, if you're listening, we want to do more bits, sending in voice work, come on the show. But I haven't heard from him in a while about the podcast. So I just want to keep that as an open invitation. And Microwave Guy, if people that remember Microwave Guy, I would love for him to come back on. And now you don't even need to be in studio for guests because we have the StreamYard going. So I can just send you a link and you can show up. I feel like I got vocal fry going on in my voice. I'm trying my best to avoid that, but it's early in the morning. What do you want me to do? Who else? Oh, Big J, Jamal. We have been killing it gambling. Yesterday we took a slight step back because It's the thing you fall into when you're winning big, and then you throw bigger units out, and then of course those are the ones that lose. But ended up about even yesterday, and it was not looking good early. But Jamal also gave me um, contact information for one of his friends who has a production company. I've told a few people about this, and I reached out to them. They reached back out to me, and we'll see. There's a short film idea that was being pitched around. Uh, the There's another movie idea that I talked about with them, and then there's also sorry, and then there was also just showing him the podcast. The guy's on Spotify, so we both just kind of are gonna check out each other's thing, and we'll see what happens there. I say that to slowly get into episode 35. Which first of all, I was sweating so bad after I finished that. Not one because of pure anger. I literally sat there for eight hours at work just stewing about the episode, and then I recorded obviously episode 35, the bonus episode, and I thought if the audio is bad on this after I just ranted about the audio, that would be one of the worst moves of all time. But it sounded much better. Something about the first word I always say, the welcome to Three Dot Podcast, always sounds like shit. Not sure what to do about that. That's a me issue. I don't know how to fix it. I will say though, so I said that one to people, and everyone goes, "What did Will say? What did Will say?" Will still has not heard it. To today, he still has not heard it. I recorded that last Monday, and I know he hasn't heard it because oh man, I mean, it's bad podcasting. I number one, he didn't react to it at all. Which even if like it'd be one thing because Will knows I like the guys. That's the thing I always said about Phil. Like you can go hard at people and have fun and like be real, and then they know that underlying they're not. It's not like I hate you, but just get your shit together. But Will goes. Will had no reaction, not even like a "Hey, that was funny. I'll be better." Not what the fuck. I would have even been happy if it was a what the fuck reaction, but he didn't have that either. No reaction whatsoever. I didn't hear from him. No text, no calls all week until I texted him. So Will's been working, or well, claimed he was working on reaching out to advertisers for the podcast. Now we're selling merch, obviously, all that, but ads is where Will would potentially get a slice if he brings on an advertiser. So he goes, send me some local businesses. I talked about this a little bit on 34. Send me some local businesses or 35, some local businesses, and I will reach out to them. I have a rate sheet for different ads. I'll send them some clips, which don't exist, and we'll go from there. I reached out to him after I didn't hear from him at all because I was waiting to see if he heard 35 and was going to send some feedback. Nothing. So I texted him on Thursday. Recorded that on Monday, texted him on Thursday. I said, "Hey, can I see that rate sheet? Because I want to at least review it." And I had asked for that in the original text where I sent him a few businesses that could be interested. And I said, "Send me the rate sheet first so I can review it." Nothing. Nothing on the episode. Then I texted him again, asking him to see the rate sheet. And he goes, after a couple hours later, he goes, "Yeah, I have it. 1 second." And then 5 minutes go by, and then he goes, "Actually, I don't have it. Never mind. John might have it." So I reach out to John. "Hey, did Will reach out to you?" And he goes, "Oh, this is a bad episode." And he goes, last time I talked to him, he was asking for the rate sheet. So Will never had it. He was asking for it from John because John had one made for a different show. And then Will told me he had it twice and told me he was going to reach out. And then we're 10 days later and he hasn't, and he doesn't even have the rate sheet. So I think that's another thing where I'm just going to take the reins on it, make some calls, do a meeting or two and see what happens there. And that's another thing where Will's responsibilities are shrinking. And it's never good in any line of work to have a bunch of responsibilities and then have those slowly trickle away from you. Because he was going to do clips. He was going to do social media to an extent. We would all share that. There's a few people that help out with tweets or whatever. It depends on the day, which is also lacking lately. So shout out to all of them. But he was going to reach out to advertisers. He was going to do clips. He was going to do some social media. He was going to edit the show, adjust audio, whatever that might be. and now we are down to him being a guest on the show. And I've said it before, and I've said it on 35 multiple times. If that's all he's going to be, then I want him on very rarely because the content has not been great on his end. And I'm not saying I'm some genius with content, but I think it's indisputable that the guy has been trash. He's been too high, first of all, like, and I'm sure his response would be, "Oh, that's what I do. I only function when I'm." Well, you're not really functioning. Like it may seem like it. It seems goofy. You get to laugh a lot, but that's because you're high. Like nothing anyone said on the show has been that funny. Like to get his laugh out. Um, and some people hate the laugh. Some people love the laugh. Some people like that he's a fuck up. Jamal wants to fight him because he's a fuck up. But part of it, but that split down the middle is why I also want to keep him around. I don't think he even is aware of it. I came close to firing him, which after 34, and especially not listening to 35, not even being aware of that it shows up. Now, again, I get it. He's volunteering. We're all volunteering our time, but don't. But the thing is, he's the one who said, "I can do this, this, and this. I've been looking for something to do. I wanted to do a hobby." And now we're 3 weeks straight because last or 3 episodes because 2 last week of me being just lost on what he actually wants to do. Because if it's just being a guest on the show, then don't really need or want that. Once in a while, sure, but not all the time because the interruptions, the leaving during the show, the content he brings to the table um, is okay. The 9/11 music video still just blows my fucking mind. I mean, it's unreal that happened. Um, but as a producer, I mean, he's doing nothing. There's no edits on the show. There's nothing. I get that on the screen on the YouTube. Sometimes he puts the social media apps. That doesn't really do much because I say them on the show. Usually, I'll do it right now. X at 3.podcast, Instagram at 3.podcast. You can contact us at 3.podcast at gmail.com. You can find us on TikTok at 3.podcast, YouTube at 3.podcast, or search for V3.podcast on Spotify. Boom, done. Did the same job that the producer is flashing on the screen. And if you're listening on Spotify, that screen does nothing anyway. So we'll see what happens with Will, because today or last night I was thinking about going solo anyway, and I realized that this isn't much more of an angrier one because typically when I'm solo that happens, and I think it's a better show when I'm just doing off the top and kind of amped up. This is more muted. This is more under control. Where are my texts with Will? I'm gonna go through this real quick. Will said, well, first I said, "Did you hear anything?" Which was yesterday, and it was very vague because I wanted to know if he heard anything in terms of the show, the bonus episode, and then I added from John because if he didn't respond to that, then he clearly hasn't listened, or he would have given me some reaction. So I said from John. That was at 8:52 in the morning yesterday. Then I texted him at 12:50 because I didn't hear anything, just a question mark. And then he goes, "Yes, he's gonna look for it when he gets back from Philly. Sorry, I was working once again on a Saturday. This guy grinds on the weekends. Tell you what, I had a massive rollover and term to whole life convert again life insurance terms. He and that's the other thing. I think I mentioned it, but every time I have a phone call with the guy, he's trying to sell me life insurance, and it's like we're just doing a fucking show. I don't need you to sell me fucking life insurance. Don't do your job on me. We're both trying to work on this together." Okay, not the point. Um, and he says, "I made 2,800 this morning. God is good. Congratulations." So I just didn't respond to any of that. Which again, these should all be signs. If I'm being very vague, I'm not answering you. I mean, a lot of my friends know that feeling because I can be difficult. I understand that, but you're never gonna not know how I feel. Um, but he might just be oblivious. So then yesterday at 9:34 at night, because I still haven't heard anything about being on this week. So I said, "Are you in tomorrow?" And he goes, "Yes." I'm at the in-laws, so I'm gonna need to edit it because I don't have the StreamYard on this laptop. Okay. So what I mean, there's no I could be just wrong, but I was clearly already frustrated and new to answer and kinda didn't even want him on this week. I said or I didn't this is what I said, but I'm thinking like, "Okay, what does that mean? What are we recording on? Are we recording locally just to a laptop? How are you gonna edit that? How are you gonna stitch it together? Are we not gonna have video?" But instead of all of that, I said, "Don't worry about it. Come back next week." Now, if you've been following this story at all, you know that that is, I mean, borderline death sentence, right? I mean, don't worry about it, first of all, is not something I say unless I would say no worries. That if you know me, I say no worries. If I say don't worry about it, that's like, don't even worry about it. Sarcastic. Don't even worry about it. We're fine. We're good. And then come back in next week. Don't even worry about the show because you're not going to cut clips anyway, are you? So I said, don't even worry about it. Come back next week. And he just sends okay with an exclamation point 2 hours later when I was asleep. And that's fine. But again, where's the heads up? I'm not trying to keep tabs on your entire life, but how about a heads up? Hey, I'm not going to have Wi-Fi this weekend. Hey, I'm going to be out of town so I can prep. Now I was already prepping to go solo anyway because I was debating having him on or debating having him on the show, and then we could go through episode 35. But he hasn't listened to it, so what kind of content would that be? Him trying to listen live as we go. I not happy, very disappointed in what seemed early on like it was going to be fun, and then there was a time when he was interrupting too much. Then I did a solo show. He calls me, tells me he realizes he doesn't need to talk as much, blah 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 blah. Then we come back and he's interrupting again. I don't know. I don't know where I stand with Will. I hope he listens to this, and maybe if he listens to this, he'll go back to the bonus episode and listen to that, and we can hit a point where we go back to him being more of a producer. Either don't come on at all, don't even come on to episode, or come on and talk very rarely, or wait for me to offer a back and forth, not interrupt a fucking monologue again. And we'll do that, and then you just make sure it sounds good, send it to me, and you just clip it. Just sit there during the show and timestamp things that you think are funny. Check with me before you clip them, because that was the other thing that pissed me off. Is we going back is we didn't clip the big Toledo public school story. And people have literally come up to me and asked me and said, "What's happening with that?" Oh, my producer didn't cut it. He didn't find that part interesting. He found it more interesting, but the other guy didn't know my actual real name. Who gives a fuck? I'm working myself up again. That's not the point. The point is just sit there, timestamp the fucking show, and cut some fucking clips. That's all I care about. Clips, advertisers, do that. If nothing else, just do that. Be a fan of the show, buy a fucking shirt, and we'll call it a day. And come on once in a while. Well, those are the options at this point. I've decided as I'm recording the episode what my plan is. Either just be a producer and talk rarely, chime in, fact check as we go, be able to look something up. That's it. I don't need you to come up with topics. I don't need you to join in on topics unless I ask you to. We'll do just a monologue show. And then the other option would be you don't even come on the show and you just do those things. I'll send it to you, but I don't think he'll take the time to listen anymore because he used to. He used to be very involved. He'd listen. He'd call me 3 times a week, all the time, checking in. What are we gonna do? What's the plan? That's not happening. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Um, I don't think I have anything else from 35. I do have another movie that's better than Oppenheimer, but I'm gonna get to here in a minute. But GoFundMe cleanup. I did want to clean up the story. So I was obviously reacting in the moment. I saw some things on Facebook. This was the GoFundMe involving Jordan Flagar and his family. And on the Facebook, the family was coming. We're not involved. It turns out that the GoFundMe wasn't like a scam thing, which is what I just thought, just with limited information. And this is the last time I'm going to talk about this because it's not my story. I'm not involved. It's just I want to clean up things and not just leave it out there. Um, the GoFundMe was for, or was started, I believe, by his fiance or his fiance's family, and they live out in Colorado. So still a little odd the back and forth that was going on Facebook. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not doing any of that. Not my place. I'm not involved. Literally none of that. But I just wanted to clean it up that it wasn't a scam GoFundMe necessarily. Like I don't know what exactly is going on. It seems I'm not going to comment at all. But the point is it wasn't just someone that knew that it happened and was starting it to steal money or profit from it. It seems like they're trying to do their own memorial service out in Colorado. Anything involving the family and the fiance, whatever's going on there, you know, not my place. Not gonna get involved. Not trying to. But again, I just wanted to clean up for my own sake because I had said it could. I think I said like it could be a scam. It might not be. I left myself open a little bit to that, and just wanted to make sure that everything's clear on that. So, because I'm gonna get sued. No. Um, let's see here. Do I want to tell this story from AA? Nah, because the whole thing is like anonymous. Like it's in the fucking name, you know. Uh, I'm not gonna tell you yet, but I will say that it is an arrested place. AA, if you go to those, um, which I don't go as often anymore, but the thing that keeps you going is it really is a community when you find the right one and you find people that care about you. You know, but whether they truly know you or not, they care. Everyone wants to just see everyone come back because it's an interesting small group you find where you're all a moment or a bad decision away from going right back to where you were. And for a lot of those people, you're a moment away from death. And it's not a sad thing. It's just something that's known. You know, it's very hard to describe. But part of the reason that you keep going back is it's not for you. And that's the whole point of the community is you go back to show people, hey, I'm still doing good. Hey, you know, still alive. Hey, I'm on the right path. How are you doing? It's very interesting. I had a story I wanted to tell from that, but I'm gonna wait to tell that because again, I I don't know if anyone from there listen. I know a few people from there listen. I just don't want to be someone where then I show up and it's like, oh, I don't want to speak because he might say something on the podcast. I wasn't gonna use names or anything, but not the point. I'll save that story for another time. But in general, just shout out to those people that I've met through there. And one person I should see there a lot was not there the last time I was there and didn't answer a text. So it's kind of one of those things where you don't know. You're kind of in the dark. So that's why it's always good to keep going back to those things. That was more a story just for me. You're here. It's my podcast. Um, told the Heidelberg story, which was a nothing burger to start. I wanted to do a whole monologue, but really, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm still so mad at Will. It's really bringing me down. Um, oh, the other day I was on the highway. This was gonna be how I was gonna start, I think. But there's an old man, or I'm going down the highway, and there's all this traffic. And it turns out to be just one lane, and this guy in front of me, and this old beat up SUV, and I'm trying to get around him, but I can't because now everyone else is passing. And I finally get around him. He's going like 40 on the highway, and I get up, I look over because who the fuck is this guy? And I look, and it's just this old dude just hitting a dab pen. I could say vape. I know it's a dab pen. I know my shit. And I had a moment where I was like, fuck it. He's an older guy. Just let him do his thing, live his life. But I'm like, yeah, don't let it affect me. And it did remind me there was a time when I was smoking and I forget I was out in White House and I'm going down the road and I literally go, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get a speeding ticket. What? Oh my god!" And I look and I'm going 30 miles an hour, and on like a 50. It there are people that say that weed's gonna be more dangerous, and we're all just gonna be going slower. I think it's gonna be, and we're not even gonna be aware of it. We're gonna think we're speeding. Not we, Jeff. Anyone who listens, not we. I'm not doing that anymore. But the community. Just let me just clear that up. Did my time. I'm not. That will not be me partaking anymore. Um. Oh shit. So I did want to tell this story too. I'm just gonna tell a few shitty stories, and everyone can fuck themselves, and we'll have a guest next week. I tried to reach out to a few people, but I also want to get done early because I'm going to look at some houses this afternoon. The I used to work part time in a sales job. So I saw an ad. I wanted to do some part time work when there wasn't overtime. And I was like, oh, I'll try to get into sales a little bit. So there's this ad for a marketing company, and you would be doing sales, and you would be uh, one-on-one sales. You know, you would be trying to get people to buy our product, which I didn't know what it was. I go to the interview, and I had no idea what the job really was. I had no idea what I'd be selling. I had no idea anything about it. So I get through the first interview just on pure charisma, that's me. And then I go to the second interview with the actual owner of the company. It's a very small company, if you couldn't pick up on that. The second interview is with the owner, but it was like a franchise thing, whatever, and it ended up being, I didn't realize it, but the job was that you I was like the guy in Sam's Club who you see, like, trying to sell, uh, energy, gift cards, whatever. Not sell gift cards, but we would try to get you to switch your gas carrier, your electricity carrier to this company that we worked for or hired us. Very scammy from the beginning. But we would basically stop people, do a quick pitch, try to close a deal, and that was it. And you would get commission off every sale you make. And listen, it was a scam for sure. Not a scam. It wasn't a scam. I have a story about that. It wasn't a scam, but it was very sketchy. But it was really good money because any sale you made on energy, any kind of sale, you would get um, commission based off that, and you could make, I don't know. I think it was like, it might have been like $100. And again, if you're only working a few hours, you can make a few $100 in a day. The real money was, we also, the same company that does that in the back of the store was also the ones that ran like the cell phone booth, and you could make a shit ton of money selling phones. So a lot of times I would just walk up there, sell a few phones, and I could make like several hundred to $1,000 in a day. A day, and we would do that. I would do that 3, 4 times a week. It was a pretty good part-time gig. I think I reported income. No, but it was sketchy. I don't know where the money was coming from. I don't know how this person was making money, but whatever the setup was, um, in the energy area, which is where I got placed right away, because I was relatively good at talking to people, getting sales, and energy was one of the harder ones to get people to do. Because what we would do is stop. "Hello, sir. Do you have Toledo Edison?" "Oh, well, if you does your," or if people didn't know, we would have like a fake Toledo Edison bill, and we would go, "Does your bill look like this?" "Okay, cool. Well, sorry, I'm messing up my pitch." Mez would be so pissed. Mez was this guy who had worked there for a while. The whole thing was kinda new, but he was training me, and this guy was a wizard with sales. It was incredible. But the pitch was, uh, "Do you have Toledo Edison?" "Yes." "Do you want a chance at a $70 Sam's Club gift card?" "Absolutely." "Well, does your bill look like this?" "Listen, we are marketing for this, supplier. All You're not gonna have see any changes on your bill. All you would see is the change on the supplier. Your bill would stay the same. If you can switch with us, you get a $70 Sam's Club gift card. Everything else is gonna be the same." And then you would just handle then you're just talking, but you're already in the door, you're offering a gift card, blah, 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 and you're trying to sell. And I I did fairly well at this, but the owner of the company failed to tell us that you only get the gift card if you have a certain credit score. Don't know how that was connected. I don't know how they were checking all of this. I don't know if they sent a single gift card out. So every once in a while, you would get someone who would come back and say, "I still didn't get my gift card," and we would typically say, "Oh, it's coming. Don't you worry about it." Or, "Hey, let me see. Oh, by the way, it still looks like this property also has Toledo," and we would try to sell them another one. Or the best was if you had someone who had multiple properties or businesses. Boom, boom, boom. You're selling 5 in a day. They're supposed to get 5 gift cards. I don't think they got any of them. But I kinda love this environment. I was thriving in this environment. I kinda like the sketchy feel of it, honestly. I miss it. I the blood flowing, and you would just be selling people not knowing if they were gonna get their gift card. You're just trying to make money, and the, um there's some funny moments working for that place, because once we went to a company lunch, she just said, "Let's go to lunch today," and here is a giant spider. Holy shit. Spiders are my number 1 f do not come this way, dude. That's an assassin spider, I can tell. I've seen them before. They hunt in packs. There's another one around. Composure. Sorry to just stop the podcast, but this is terrifying. Just go about your business. Oh, he's got a little baby with him. Okay. But we went to a so we went to a company lunch. This is gonna derail the whole podcast. Oh my god. Alright. Alright. Mez company lunch. So we went to a company lunch, and there was just a bunch of us. There's, like, 10 people that worked at this company. Very just wide range of people. There was a single mother who was just trying it was her full-time job. There was Audra, who ran the whole place, who was a hustler, but I don't think the communication I think she was in over her head a little bit. There's Mez, who was just the rock of the company. Rock was a Mez was a superstar. Then there's this just douchebag of a guy, big lug, thought he was the shit. There's a young kid who worked there who I later saw at AA. Says a lot. And then there's a couple other women that worked there, but we were a good crew, and um, we would go to these company lunches, and then other people would leave. It was just me and the lug, and he was talking about because we would travel sometimes too, which was awesome. On the weekends, we would go out to Findlay, somewhere in Michigan, Sandusky, all over the place, and he was telling me about how him and the other coworker had, banged on the trip, and I'm like, "I don't think that's probably something that happens at normal companies, but fuck it, we're here, this is sketchiness." And he would just openly talk about it. He later got fired for it. I'm not sure we ever had, like, a code of ethics, but I think that was probably just an unspoken thing that you shouldn't be doing that. Something about a hot tub. But anyway, the I also got in trouble because I liked Mez, but then there's this, woman who flew in from Houston because we were a small branch of, like, this huge company, and I might be talking about too much, but this was just a fun time, and they brought in this chick from Houston, and she was talking and she was trying to tell us how to sell, and she actually got mad at me because she's like, because I didn't wanna hear anything she had to say, and and I kept, like, smacking my lips like, "Alright, okay." I don't know why I was an asshole, but then she's like, you can stop smacking your lips. I'm trying to help you do this." And I'm like, "I don't need," and we went back and forth a little bit. I'm sitting there, I'm like, "I don't need you to tell me how to scam people. I could scam anyone anytime. Not a scam still, right? Upstanding company." Well, the thing is, I would go back to the gift cards. I don't know if anyone ever got them. A couple people did, and it would really help our sales because we'd be standing there, and some people would be like, I don't know," and then someone would walk by and say, "Hey, I got my gift card." Boom, and then we would make another sale based off that. But as often as that happened, we would get people that would say, "I never got my gift card," like I said, and then we would say, "Oh, it's coming, it should be in the mail. Did you fill this out? Did you fill this out?" "Okay," and the whole goal of that was just to get them out of the way so that no one heard us talking about them not getting their gift cards. So then she one time this lady stops her cart, and there's 3 of us working in the area because we were hot, we were killing it, we were fucking Wall Street, and there's 3 of us, and she goes, um, "This is a scam. This is a scam," and I'm the lowest on the seniority ladder here. It was Mez, this girl Kennedy, and then me. Mez had been there for a while. Kennedy was there for, like, a couple months before I was, but in terms of seniority at this place, that was a long time. And Mez is just kinda, like, trying to be nice, he's like, "You know, what's the issue? Well, you should have got it. Did you change this? Did your bill?" "Yep, my bill changed. It's you guys on the supplier, blah, 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 but I'm not getting my gift card. This is a scam, and my bill went up, and this" I didn't know shit, but I'm like but Mez is just sitting there trying to be nice. I'm like, we're not taking this. We at the what was it? Black Oak Marketing Company are not gonna stand for this shit." So I said, "Ma'am, this isn't a scam." And she goes, "I didn't get my gift card. The gift card I call and they say your credit score." And I said, "That's not a scam then, is it? It sounds like your credit score is too low. That's something that you should have looked into. That's something that we probably told you. I don't know who sold this to you, but whoever it was, they failed to do that. That's on them. That is not on us as a company." I went on this whole speech to her, and then she's just keeps going, "Well, it's a scam. I'm not gonna let anyone else sign up for this." And I just kept going, "It's not a scam. You're wrong. You have low credit. Get out of here, you peasant. Get out of here with your low credit score." I didn't say all that, but it was more or less the gist of what I was saying. And then she eventually left, and we sold about 5 more that day. Um, but this all was going on, and I was really hitting my stride with it, and then COVID hit. But I'll try to remember. I'll tell some more stories from that place because that was one of the most fun, sketchy, stupid, big money, don't know where it's coming from jobs. It was not big money, you know what I mean. But it was just so much fun, and I you got to just interact with all these kinds of different people, and I had more fun when people would call us a scam because then you just get to go off on 'em. Get It's not a scam. You have low credit. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you and your credit score. That stuff was very, very fun. Um, it probably isn't like, it probably sounds like I'm just a bad person, but it was part of my job. It was my job to do that. Um, Twitter pissing me off lately. This kinda goes back to when I was talking about young people thinking everything they do has been done for the first time. Where is that spider? It is fucking me up that I can't see him now. The it, this idiot goes, uh, "Have you ever heard of Bottle Night?" Probably not. You've probably seen the tweet, but he's, like, all excited because him and his wife stay in and drink wine on 1 night a week, and it's like, yeah, you didn't invent that, like, people are alcoholics wherever, congratulations. But in general, my favorite response was, "Congratulations, you invented having one-on-one time with your wife with the added bonus of you both have to be drunk to tolerate each other." Very funny, but just you gotta expect to get roasted when you do stupid shit like that on Twitter. What are these people thinking? Whether they're the first ones that ever thought of staying in and having a bottle of wine. I Stupid. Smack my lips. Lady in Houston would not be happy. Um, oh my god, he's closer. Holy shit! I need a weapon. I need a fucking weapon. I don't want to use the remote, dude. Chill. Stop it. Don't make me do this. You gotta kill me either way, right? Fuck. 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 Where's a shoe when you need it? What do I have? I can't stop the show either. Oh my god, he's fucking huge. Hey, our show's been hijacked by a spider. Go, go. Shoe. If they weren't my number one fear, I would have no problem killing them. But I try to respect them. I try to let them go away so they tell their friends that I'm cool. Um, mm, along with the Twitter thing, he's so close to me. But along with the Twitter thing, sketches now. Like I used to see all these shorts and reels, and I would think people were funny, but I realize now that people just they find one thing that hits, and then that's all they do. And it's really fucking frustrating because you'll go through someone's channel and it's just basically 100 different ways to do the same bit. And all of that kind of ties into my whole thing about social. Everything's fake now. I hate the fake fights. I hate the parody pranks. I hate all of that, which kind of goes into my next thing. I said it before, and everyone kind of knows this, so this isn't new. But streamers are out of control. Here's some of the highlights that I saw. There's a lady who now screams in public. That's her content, and she literally sits in a restaurant, takes a bite of something, and then screams as if it's hurting her, as if it's murdering her. There's 0 talent. There's 0 anything, and now people just they need attention, and they'll literally just scream for it. That's their whole thing. Um, there's another guy who was sitting in a college class, told his college professor to shut the fuck up, and then walks out of class. What is there even shock value anymore? Like, is that shocking? Like, I I'm not surprised at all by that, and it's just, what does that do for you? Why is that like, why what is society is truly breaking down. I've said it before jokingly, but in passing, but this is just we're getting there. You can't tell me that what's passing for entertainment now is not a sign of the decline of the empire, the American empire. It's truly fucked up, and when the younger and younger kids are doing it, and these kids are gonna grow up if they're gonna vote. You b that's terrifying. That should terrify you. There's a fake kidnapping. This one was an older person. I believe it was a mother did a fake kidnapping prank. The prank was to get fucking fake kidnapped. What the fuck? First of all, no one would believe it. It's clearly gonna be fake. Oh, wait, no, it's not because they used a real gun and she ended up getting shot. I mean, I guess you're authentic. I'm not gonna deny your creativity. I don't have an open mind. Stop moving, you fucking spider. The the fact that they went for an authentic, real weapon is a good thing in a way. Dude, okay, we have to kill this thing. I was trying to avoid it. I'm gonna keep trying to do the show as we do this. Oh, fuck you. Dude, you're going towards the microphone. It's I don't even care, but I mean, this has been a bad podcast all around. But I had to do an episode, and I didn't. I expected to be solo, but I also thought I had a different guest lined up and didn't have it. Go the other way. Go the other way. I think he's dead. Um, this whole day is fucked up. Oh, better than Oppenheimer in our new segment because we've been watching a lot of movies lately. Our new better than Oppenheimer movie is Ricky Stanicky. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Not a lot. Fuck you, Nick, for even saying that. But I do have some thoughts on this. The rise of John Cena has been incredible to watch because when he first said he wanted to be an actor, I was like, oh, here we go, The Rock again. The Rock has some good movies. Let's not sit here and say he doesn't, but he also has a lot of bad ones, and he plays kind of the same role in every single one. He's this big draw. He's an action guy, but in terms of actual acting ability, not great. It's not. It's not phenomenal. He's kind of just one note. John Cena has done very well, and he was the same way at first. So I'm not gonna sit here and say John Cena was like God's gift to acting, and like as soon as he left the wrestling world, he was in. But he has done a really good job each role that I've seen him in of being like better, less robotic, less formulaic. Shut up. The Ricky Stanicky movie was actually very entertaining, and I wanted to look up critics and fan scores after I watched it to see what people thought, and a lot of people were. Some people said it's great. It was an ode to the R-rated comedy, blah 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 blah, and other also high and mighty to talk about like that. But then other people were like, "There's nothing to it. It's not saying anything." Which again, what are we doing? It's a comedy. It's supposed to make people laugh. Did people laugh or not? I don't care if you don't think the humor's great in it, but I thought it was a very funny movie. Andrew Santino's in it, who I'm also not a huge fan of. I think he's funny as an actor. I'm just not a huge fan of him as a stand-up, but very, very funny in this movie. And Zac Efron. So that's, and I forget the other guy's name. Shit. Let me look this up because I don't want to do a whole review. I literally looked it up earlier because I want to make sure I had it right. And here I am, Ricky Stanicky. That spider really ruined the whole show, didn't it? Jermaine Fowler. Jeff Ross is also in it. William H. Macy is also in it. Um, but John Cena was very funny in it. Highly recommend this movie. Better than Oppenheimer by a million because I was actually very entertained. Um, and you could sit there and say well, the same thing that the critics are saying, but oh, there's nothing to it. It's just a bunch of not a bunch of, but there's a some of it would be considered low hanging fruit humor, right? No, but very funny. John Cena dives all into the role, and I think that's the thing that's different about him is he goes all into whatever role it is. Like it's not I'm John Cena playing this; it's I'm trying to play this character. And some of his early stuff was bad. I'm not gonna sit here and say it wasn't, but this was a very good role. He has to do a lot in it, and I thought it was very funny. And Zac Efron's very funny in it. Santino's funny. The whole thing, I think it was pretty well written. William H Macy's great. Jeff Ross is great. It felt like I will say in that critic thing that the ode to the R-rated comedy, it did feel very much in the vein of like mid 2000, like early 2010 and earlier kind of comedies. Like very just we're here to make you laugh. That's what we're gonna do. Very highly recommend. It's on Amazon Prime. Very funny, in my opinion. Who the fuck am I? I'm a spider killer. That's what I am. A spider fucking assassin. Um, this is also. I'm sorry to Aaron at the production thing Jamal had me reach out to. If this is the first episode you listen to, this is not exactly who I am. So please don't hold this against me. Okay, where are we at? 44 minutes? 44 minutes on a solo? Like half of that was Wovo, wasn't it? All right. Real quick, Ohio State football. Chip Kelly is so happy to be where he is. He can't stop smiling. Looks like just a big happy jelly bean. Big time things coming from him. Ryan Day is taking more of a step back in the CEO role. The early videos from practice, he's bouncing around position groups. It's not like he's just with the quarterbacks like he used to be. Same with Knowles, able to take even more of a step back because we got Warren Knight as full time as a linebackers coach. All of these things are great. The Jeremiah Smith, freshman, 6'2", 215, freshman wide receiver. Guy is a monster. He's gonna. I don't know about start. I don't know how you would even define start at a school like Ohio State, but he's gonna be incredible. Quinshawn Judkins, huge. Him and Henderson at running back. The quarterback battle is going to be interesting. The offensive line battle is going to be interesting. It sounds like Luke Montgomery is going to start potentially at right guard, maybe right tackle, and Josh Fryer is the other one on that side. I don't know. Fryer really struggled last year, but I think Justin Fry has been developing people. He needs to get a big win on the recruiting trail to shut the fuck up. Just shut these Ohio State fans up that say you can't recruit. I get it. You want the big time guys, but keep developing the line, and that will come. And if not, if he's coaching them up, great. I think we took a big step forward last year from game 1 to Michigan. And then I think we can do the same this year. And with guys that have been there, it's not a bunch of first year starters anymore, except maybe Montgomery. Also, the Alabama transfer probably will start. Caleb Downs is playing safety, fucking monster transfer from Alabama. Sonny Styles moving to linebacker is huge. Knowles is talking about moving to a kind of a 3-4 front with the DNs on the outside. A lot of big stuff going on offense and defense. The biggest thing, obviously, will be the quarterback battle. Who are we going to have? And of course, everyone on Twitter is making their predictions already and saying why someone else sucks and why their guy's the best and who's going to win. I'm not going to do any of that judgment. I think the spring game is always a good indicator just to see people throw in more of a game setting. I think going based off videos or like a depth chart on day 2 of practice is fucking stupid. I'm just going to predict right now. I think I want to say I think it will be Will Howard, but it's more 60-40 over Devin Brown. I think Devin Brown will have a legitimate shot to win the battle, and then Sayin, Nolan, Keenholz are all behind him. And I think Keenholz ends up leaving after this year. I think it's going to be Howard, maybe Brown for a year, and then Nolan or Sayin, or it's going to be Brown, Howard leaves, Keenholz leaves, and Nolan or Sayin in year 2. Which college is really trickling down to the NFL in terms of not just NIL, but now people are saying, people aren't going to sit. They're not going to sit if you say they're not going to sit, but like, let's not hand the reins over to a freshman. Like, that's just not how things necessarily work and haven't worked at Ohio State. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying that's not a recipe for success by getting them experience and then they later on become great. But because I do think Day needs to play these guys a little bit, all of them, especially in blowouts. Like, that's a big thing that Ohio State has been lacking in the last couple of years. It's not putting the backups in when you're already up big in the fourth quarter, and then someone gets hurt and you're throwing someone out there that hasn't seen the field at all. That part has to change, but I don't think you just hand the reins over to a freshman quarterback, especially if you don't think they're ready. And I think now we finally have the quarterback room where we can say, all right, it's Will Howard or Brown, and then we have some confidence in Keenholz because he played in a bowl game, and then we have not well, and he had no offensive line, but he's played, and then I can really not worry about Nolan or Sayin playing at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think it's going to be Will Howard just because he came in, he has the experience, and if Brown is injury prone or has the turnovers, I think you go with Howard. If he can show anything, and Howard is a big dude. If we're going to be running the ball with our quarterback, I think Howard can hold up a little bit better. Not to say that Brown can't, but percentage-wise, how much he's hurt, it's a concern. It'd be irresponsible to say you're not worried about it. So I think Will Howard gets the nod. I think Brown sticks around as that spider too. God, it's not, but fuck, man. Fuck. I'm under attack. The fuck this show. We also hired Michael Hunter as a grad assistant. He's gonna be a passing game, defensive passing game coordinator, assistant, whatever the fuck. All these titles we have now, but former corner in NFL. Just loaded staff, loaded roster. All the pieces are coming together. Chip Kelly's fucking wheeling and dealing out there. Recruiting, we have, I believe, 3 of the top 6, if not 3 of the top 10 recruits committed or nearly committed for next year already. That's always, something you have to watch all the way till the end. But they're all on the defensive side of the ball too, 2 of them. And that was the big thing until last year is not getting defensive recruits or transfers, and it's all coming together, which is again why the ball is fully in Day's court, and you win or don't. I think this year has to be natty or bust. I think that's obvious. I don't think anyone's not saying that. But I think if they beat Michigan, make it to the title game, and lose, with how good this roster and staff are, I think it's still a failure. I hate to say that. Not in terms of like, oh, the season's a failure. You beat Michigan and everyone's happy. You can go 1-12 or whatever the fuck, however many games. But if you lose every game but beat Michigan, I personally would be happy. I think we've gone away from that as fans. But I think if he can make a deep run and beat Michigan, he's got a shot to stick around, especially with a 12-team playoff. There's no way Ohio State's not going to get in if they beat Michigan or have a one loss, which we don't want. We don't want. I'm not speaking into existence. I'm just saying the possibilities. Um, but if they lose to Michigan and don't make it to the national championship, then I think he's gone, because that's way below expectations, and it sucks, but that's the way it is at Ohio State. Um, oh, one other piece of Ohio State news: we got an Australian punter again. It's been so long. Since we had a true just Australian motherfucker back there, and I guess he's 6'5", like 250. Is that wrong? I don't know. Will. Can you look that up? No. Okay. Huge, and he's kicking it. Supposedly, who knows? With video, kicked it 90 yards. I mean, he kicked it out of the stadium or whatever. I don't know about any of that. My point is, Australian punters is where Ohio State is. That's when you know we're cooking. Is when we have a punter from Australia, bunch of good quarterbacks, bunch of good wide receivers, and now the defense. So, like, the defense was the biggest thing, is keeping that strong. And last year to this year, that was where all of our momentum is. And now the offense with Chip Kelly, I believe, can take a step. Right now, it's very good to be an Ohio State fan. We will see. We'll see what the cheaters do. Who knows? I got nothing else. But what a mess of a show. I apologize for anyone that's tuning in for the first time. And if you have been here for a while as a dot, then you know this happens. This is maybe the second time that I've had such a scatterbrained show. Wasn't really organized. So I apologize for that. I truly do. But I hope there was at least some entertainment in there. And if not, I'd enjoy you just listening to my voice for an hour. So with that, this has been episode not 35, well, 36. Go listen to the bonus show. This has been the 3 Dot Podcast.